It's time to drop the biggest news of the day right now, and Keaton Mitchell is almost back. There's a chance he could be back on Thursday, maybe a little afterwards. We don't know, but we're practicing in full. Things are looking good, and we're going to be back sooner than later. We have to deep dive this situation right now because he might be back on Thursday, and we got to do the deep dive before he plays. We got to look at what the coaches are saying. We got to look at some practice clips that recently just happened, and we got to talk about a situation so we can get a good idea of what to do for fantasy football. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. Tap it with the finger on the phone, click it with the mouse on the computer, because we're doing these deep dives every day. When a player gets traded, we'll do deep dives on that player and some other players. We'll also do deep dives on the trending players on the waiver wire with this You Need series. On top of that, we go deep on the waiver wire, 20 plus players at each position, and we use these videos to help you set those lineups. Click that button right there. Stop missing out. Ric Flair's watching. He's right there. Do not disappoint Ric Flair. But the biggest news of the week right here, Keaton Mitchell's almost back. He is almost back, and maybe on Thursday. Full participant in practice as of Monday. We had some practices last week. We're going to listen to what they have to say about him because it's very impactful.
Those things are all part of it, but with Keaton, it's going to be more about him being ready. We'll make the roster spot work for Keaton, and when he's ready to go and compete and protect himself and all those different things, I promise you he'll definitely be out there.
So is there any chance of this?
There's a chance. There's always a chance. So you're saying there's a chance?
Objectively, when we look at Thursday and what we just saw there, it's kind of iffy there. He's just being positive. We want more confirmation. We want more concrete information. But things are looking good. We're trending in the right direction. And from watching the Ravens with these injured running backs over the years, they like to take their time with them, especially when we were watching them with J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards as they were ramping up from their injuries. They will allow them to have a little extra time to get ready to be back on the field. So I would not be surprised if he's not out there on Thursday, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he's out there as well because he is Keaton Mitchell. He's our superhero. But watch him here, practice, the most recent clip from the Ravens. We're good to go. We're moving. It's Super Bowl time. Keaton Mitchell has not played it down yet this year. He's been on the PUP. He's been on injured reserve. He should have been on injured reserve on a fantasy team in your league. Should be yours. By now, we sounded that alarm all season long to stack up your injured reserve list and have it deep with players. And now he's getting ready to make his return, and you're saying, so what? He's Keaton Mitchell, and Derrick Henry's there, and Derrick Henry's not going away. Derrick Henry's going to be King Henry, and that's what it's going to be. But a guy like Keaton Mitchell is a different type of running back compared to 90-some% of the running backs in the National Football League. And why you need to pay attention to this free square is like this guy is a home run threat. Very productive out of East Carolina. 1,400 yards, 14 touchdowns. That year, 3.6 yards after contact per attempt, forcing 75 missed tackles. One of the most efficient running backs in all of college football. 54 carries of 10-plus yards. The year prior, 3.26 yards after contact per attempt. We were looking good. On top of that, we were catching the ball out of the backfield. We were explosive. We have a lot of highlight reel runs. We fall out of the draft. We do not get drafted. But the one thing you'll notice, we got that 4.37 speed, a good burst score. We can cook. We can cook on the field. And that is why we're interested in him, because we've seen it at the NFL level. We've seen it big time. And also the Ravens saw that, and they're like, hey, I know he didn't get drafted, but we got to sign him to a good deal. We got to sign this guy to a good deal. We got to do it right away so no one swoops in. On top of that, when we do get our opportunity, we cash. We get 1 RB 1 week, 2 RB 2 weeks in that short amount of time. 4 games of double-digit production in PPR. We averaged 8.4 yards per carry. That is hard to do. That is hard to do on 47 rushing attempts. On 47 rushing attempts, we rushed for almost 400 yards. On 9 catches, we almost hit 100 yards. We are averaging 8.7 PPR points per game because we had those downer games. However, we were cashing in. We were up and down. We were hella volatile. We weren't really a league winner, but we were hella volatile, and it helped people in some weeks. And it's really up to your perception, because you look at the stat sheet of this, and you're like, I love this. I want this out of my running back. I want a running back to throw in my flex, close my eyes, and pray to the fantasy gods that you get that 20.4. Or you look at this and be like, I hate that. I hate that. I do not want that risk. I do not want that gamble every week, because it does not take many touches for him to hit in the box score, because once he sees green, he's housing it. He's clearing it. The injury history is the big thing about him. It's huge right now. It's hurting him really bad when it comes to his prospect profile. We know this, but we're looking at just the last few games of the season, the back 9 of the season, paired with Derrick Henry, not getting a full workload. We don't want him to get a full workload. Last year, 15 missed tackles forced, 12 carries of 10-plus yards, 37th among running backs. But that's up there with like Alvin Kamara, Breece Hall, Brian Robinson, Chuba Hubbard. That's up there with some of the top running backs in the National Football League on just a handful of carries, 47 carries, and we're getting the job done. 5.68 yards after contact per attempt. That is nasty. That is elite. Usually you're looking at 3-something as being good. 5.68 at a decent sample, not a large sample, but a decent sample of carries. That's because we got the juice to roll. Derrick Henry, over 1,000 yards already. We're not looking for him to steal Derrick Henry's job, and we're honestly not looking at him to steal Justice Hill's job. We're looking at him to ramp up slowly, get a few touches a game, and they're going to use him as that fastball, that off-speed pitch, whatever you want to call it, the change of pace here, where Derrick Henry gets spelled for a carry here and there. They use this rocket to hit that button, and they're hoping he finds space. Because if he finds space on that play, whether it's a screen or up the gut and there's a hole, or a little bit downfield catching the ball, if there's any room for him to build up speed, it's over with. It's over with. He's housing it. That's the type of running back we're looking at. And now you got to worry about him, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson's on points. This is a very dangerous Ravens offense here, and now you're adding this weapon. The thing about him for fantasy football, he's going to be very up and down. We call this the Will Fuller effect in our fantasy football scientific terms. The Will Fuller effect, like we saw earlier on his chart, is a player that's hella spiky that can go to the moon on any given week, but also send you to hell in any given week, and you either love it or you hate it. You either love it or you hate it, because those down games kill you. They kill you, but those boom weeks, they're amazing. They feel good. They feel extra warm inside when you score that week. You get a little extra from the wife that week. However, they're a little few and far between sometimes. The thing about that, you like players like this when you got to gamble in your lineup. You put that player, whoever it is, not just Keaton Mitchell, but those wide receivers too that are like that. You put them in your lineup. You close your eyes, you pray to the fantasy gods that player hits that week. That's what you're getting out of a Keaton Mitchell. That's what we like about these players. Some of you guys are going to hate it. Some of you guys hate that. Some of you guys love it. And the thing is, those are the types of players you just got to identify for what they are and use them correctly, strategically, in the right ways. You can't use them every week. You got to play the matchups. You got to guess. You got to gamble with them. If you're hurting, you throw them in. Those are the type of players that you love to have from time to time to throw in those lineups. And that's what we're looking at with Keaton Mitchell. You either love it or you hate it. Again, you hate it. You don't need it. You're not going after that. You do not want anything that spiky. But if something happens to Derrick Henry, it's between him and Justice Hill. They're going to split up that workload. And if he gets more than 10 touches a game, he's going to have some games where he goes nuclear. You're going to stash him. You liked him last year. You liked the taste of what you got last year. You like the Will Fuller effect, especially with wide receivers. You love it with running backs because you don't know what you're going to get. 0 points or 30, you don't know. But you're going to roll with it either way. Whether you hit that home run or you strike out, you're going to roll with it. He's kind of like Adam Dunn for the Reds back in the day. You're either hitting dingers or you're striking out. But you love that type of player on the back end of your bench because you can use them in the flex from time to time when you want to gamble. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next video.